How do I start my own business?
Being my own brand would be totally legit.
I want to be the next Gary Vee.
My dream is to be on Shark Tank.
I'm just gonna Google it.
I mean, I'm awesome at social media. What could go wrong?
Oh my God.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Learning Curves. This is Kelly Bassetti, and I am so excited to be here with my good friend, Leah Turner. Yes, Leah and I have been friends for, how long have we been friends,
A long
Leah?
time.
A long time.
At least 15 years, I'd say,
Yeah,
if not more.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Leah and I have been part of the Tampa Bay Builder Association. We both worked in the building industry for both several years.
Yes.
Both of us probably going on 25 plus years in the industry. It's kind of crazy to think about that. But yeah, we want to welcome her today to the podcast. And Leah is such a passionate coach and trainer. I've been watching her for years doing sales training at SEBC, the International Builders Show. And she's one of my favorites, actually, to go listen and speak. And just so motivating and inspirational. Makes you want to keep going back. And Leah's here because she's actually going to be starting something brand new in 2022.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, so we're here to talk about it. She's going to be launching Live with Leah in 2022, and it's going to be a program for women over the age of 50. So be on the lookout. But what she's going to focus on is different parts of life that we go through as women, whether it be health and fitness, relationships, physical environment, financial and professional, and spiritual. And it's such an exciting resource. And I think when we get into our 50s, a lot of us, we're going through a big change in life.
Right. It's a new chapter. And I think we're going to redefine what that chapter looks like, especially with women.
Yep. And I have to say that I'm excited about it because I need that for myself sometimes.
Right.
Just all the things that I've been going through recently, some good things and some challenges and some other things where it's time to say goodbye and move on to the next chapter, but that letting go part's always tough.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about what this show is going to be about.
Well, Kelly, it's really, again, like you said, it's targeted to women over 50, and you and I are both in that club now,
Yes,
right?
we are.
And I think that club has changed. I mean, you think back to when our parents turned 50, it was like, oh my God, you're so old. And for us now, 50, in my opinion, is, I hear it said it's the new 30 or whatever, but what it is for women, I think it's an entire new chapter. A lot of us, if we had children, we're now empty nesters, or maybe we are early retirees or starting a new career, or maybe we're back in the dating pool. Goodness, right?
Right.
So it's a new chapter for us, and I think that so many of the things that I've seen out there via podcast, they're all targeting a younger woman, which is fine. That's great. But I think when you're talking about that demographic of 50 plus, it's a little bit different. And it is about redefining our lives and writing that next chapter and being the author of that next chapter.
I love that. I know that I have so many of my friends right now that are in their 50s and they're going through all those things that you just said. Like my kids, they're graduated from college and now they're going off and having their careers and like, what do I do with myself now?
Right.
Or maybe it's a time for a second career. Or like you said, like a lot of people unfortunately go through divorces and things like that in their 50s, and that's a whole nother thing.
That's a whole nother thing, and you say unfortunately, but sometimes the way I look at relationships is when that piece is done, and it's time maybe to move on. So maybe that relationship was really about the children. I don't know about you, but I've got several friends of mine that are like, once the children are graduated, I'm going to get divorced.
Yeah.
So
they're waiting.
Right?
Okay.
They've been counting down.
Woohoo! I'm out.
Exactly. So it's a new chapter and it's a new opportunity. And Kelly and I were talking earlier about another friend who's kind of going through this, and more importantly, it's about getting to know yourself. yourself, understanding what you want in life. And a lot of people, if you've been married a long time and, you've always done things because this is how the family's always done things, it can be kind of scary, actually, to go out there and say, I'm on my own. And I think it's important to take that time to get to know who you are. I don't know about you, Kelly, but I think I'm a very different person today than I was at age 25 or 30, right? So it's not our first rodeo.
No.
So because of those experiences that we have, that's what's so exciting about writing that next chapter at 50 plus and breaking it down into those categories of what's important to your life. Right?
Right. Let's talk about some of those categories.
Sure. Well, health and fitness is a big one. And can I say the M word? Menopause. A lot of us have gone through that.
I know I'm currently having a hot flash right now.
But that does a lot of different things.
Change my shirt before the show.
She did. She had to take off the sweater. But it changes a lot of things. It's a little harder to lose weight. It's very, very important to keep active. So health and fitness is taking a look at everything. What are you eating? What are you feeding your body? Are you making time for exercise? Pandemic was really good for me because, and for a lot of people, I think it made us really focus and maybe shift some of our priorities. And exercise became important to me. I put it in my day timer the same way as I would put in a podcast with Kelly or a doctor's appointment. Are we making time for ourselves in that health and fitness department? Mm-hmm. That's really, really critical because, you've seen people whose parents are aging, et cetera. Once you lose your health, it's a whole different ball game. So it's so important to take care of yourself and what your needs are 50 plus. So that's a biggie for me is health and fitness. We talked about relationships. So
relationships a big one.
It's huge. I mean, you've got, I don't know about you, but I've seen, it seems to me, like in looking at Facebook in my own personal experience, so many of our friends are losing parents or have parents that are aging and they're moving into the home. So you're taking a look at those relationships with your parents. People are having divorces. What does that next chapter look like? If you've been married 35 years, the idea of being single all of a sudden at age 53 can be very, very scary.
It is. I've gone through it before. It's terrifying. You make stupid decisions.
but you have a very fairy tale ending coming up, and you're a prime example. Let's talk about Kelly for a second. With some of these things, since Kelly has turned 50, she has found the love of her life. Is getting ready to have a fairy tale wedding in Italy. Hello. Didn't do that at 22, did you?
No.
Right? From your work experience, she's always been a very successful owner of CEA Marketing, but in the past 2 years, you've expanded to include Second Soul, right?
Yes.
And Two Funky Hippies, we can't forget that, which is a passion of yours. And I talk a lot about finding your passion. Mm-hmm. That may not have been something you would have done at 30 years old. But you were passionate about fashion, and so you were able to incorporate that. So that's what I'm talking about. It's it's not rebuilding, but it's really discovering what it is that you are passionate about. It's working on those relationships with your friends, with your children, with your parents. Really kind of focusing on each one of those areas of life and making it the best you can be from 50 plus.
Yep, it's really nice when you can really take a look at yourself and think about, what do I really love, and maybe start to do that. And that's what I'm, like you said, like the studio and what I'm doing with my good friend Monica, the clothing store. It's fun.
Yeah. It is fun. and it's, I just finished reading Brene Brown, and she has a book called The Gifts of Imperfection. Mm-hmm. And in one of these chapters, I'm very passionate about finding what you love to do and doing it. And so she talks about this woman that she met who was an accountant, but her side passion was making this fun, very creative jewelry. And so it's not like when you discover what you love to do, it's not like you gave up CEA Marketing. You incorporated the Two Funky Hippies into what it is that you love to do. So a lot of people ask me, how do I find out what I'm passionate about? finding your passion, I think, is the most important thing we can do, especially as women. And your passion is, what is it that makes you feel alive?
Yeah.
You know, what is it that you can sit and do for hours and you don't even notice that time has gone by? So discover what that passion is and then put it into your path. And by that, I mean somehow incorporate it into your life. So with the Two Funky Hippies, this is a side gig for you, but it's something that you're doing. So when you can combine your passion.
It's also a bad habit.
Yeah, because all the clothes, right? When you can combine your passion and your path together, that's really living your purpose. And I think that's a big thing. And, you know, as we get older and we start to wonder, what is my purpose? You know, was my purpose to raise these children? Now what do I do? The children are graduated from school. So it's time to reinvent and find out what that second purpose is or what it is that really, really drives you. And when we're coming at it this time, we've got the advantage, ladies, because we're confident, we're smart, we're very creative.
At CEA Marketing, we take your business, your passion, and your why, and we sell it. If you're unsure where to start marketing your company, CEA Marketing is here to help. Our team at CEA has tons of experience and top-notch training, which helps you take all the stress and confusion out of marketing your own business. After years of working with large companies like Pulte Homes, the Outback Bowl, and Metro Places, we guarantee the successful implementation of a marketing strategy.
We're experienced. We've learned how not to take ourselves too seriously. And I want to say that,
true.
Right? And we don't fear as much. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you kind of get to a point where you go, well, everything I've done so far, nothing has been that horrible, right? So what is there truly to fear? So we're looking at it a little bit differently. And here's a biggie.
True.
We start to get to the point where we don't give a shit what other people think.
That's right.
And that's a biggie. And I don't mean to cuss on the podcast.
Oh, we can cuss all you want on this podcast.
But when we get to the point where we're not trying to please everyone anymore. We're looking at ourselves. We want to please ourselves in all of these areas of life. So it's so exciting.
Yeah.
And I want women to be excited about this time in their lives and look at it as a new chapter and a new opportunity to reinvent and be who you are supposed to be.
That's right. And I think one of the other things that we had talked about is having that confidence and, you know, not really giving a shit anymore, like you said, about what other people think.
Right.
But along with that, I think sometimes, as we talked about finding your tribe.
Yes.
Which is
I love that.
Such a cool thing. And
yes.
a tribe is so important to people and how they go about their lives.
I agree, and you and I have been both blessed in that we have a huge tribe of females, of women, of friends, and then that's something I take great pride in. You know,
I do too.
It's really important to me, and when you can find that tribe, and authenticity is big too. When you can be your true authentic self with your tribe. That's a win-win, right? And 50 plus, I don't have time to be anybody but me, you know, and I'm pretty cool the way I am. Yeah. So why not just really be empowered by who you are? And like I said with Brene Brown's books, the gifts of imperfection. You know, I think we quit putting ourselves up to this level of, I've got to be so perfect. Everything has to be so perfect. So there's strength in our imperfections, you know. That's what makes us authentic. That's what makes us who we are. And the more we can embrace that, I think the better off we are.
Yeah.
Right?
Our imperfections, that is what makes us who we are. We shouldn't hide from them. We should actually celebrate them.
Exactly.
Because it teaches us
that's what
things.
they say. You know, put that out there, flaunt it on the front porch. This is my imperfection. This is who I am, and this is what makes me authentic.
Yes.
And I think, too, by the time we get to a certain age, we've identified what our gifts are. Right? What we bring to the table. And in talking with a lot of people before deciding to launch Live with Leah, I talked to a lot of different women, and they said, you know, I have a hard time finding something out there that is specific to this group. There's a lot for the younger women, or here's what to do when you get married, this, that, the other. But it's oftentimes, you know, we're kind of a forgotten group over here.
We are a forgotten group.
Don't forget about us.
What about us?
I know, right? So they've said, you know, I'd love a group that's just real specific, women over 50 and just dealing with things that go on in our lives, right? And having that resource and a place where you can go and be accepted for who you are.
Absolutely. Because there are all those different changes that you go through, and a lot of very emotional time period for a lot of people too.
Yes.
Like you said, with your parents getting older, having to deal with the death of parents, all those different things. It's like having this support group to help with that.
Right.
Because it can be really difficult.
It can be very difficult. And I think, when you go through it, whatever you can learn, if you can share that with someone else and make it easier for them when they go through it, that's what I like about that tribe, that community, that, we're here to help each other. We're here to support each other. And if we can provide resources, or, if we've gone through something, and if your story can help somebody else, that's what it's really all about,
Right.
is sharing that. And because we all go through it. I think, having gone through the death of my parents, it's one of those things where everybody dies,
Yeah.
but you just, when you go through it, it's a everybody grieves differently. So everybody dies, but the grieving process is different. And I know for me personally, having that tribe of very close friends was an enormous help in getting through all of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think it's good for women to talk about it too, because I think that we, as women, get very busy in our lives, and we always think that we can't be vulnerable, and we always have to show a certain side of ourselves.
Yes.
And so we hide a lot of that to people, and we don't let that out. But having that outlet relieves a lot of stress and anxiety and everything else. It's good to talk about things.
I totally agree with you. And you hit on two things that are pet peeves to me. Number one is vulnerability. I don't know where we got this point or this idea that being vulnerable is a bad thing, because in my opinion, there is strength in vulnerability. When you allow yourself to feel and show that and be your authentic self, that vulnerability actually becomes a strength. And the second thing that you mentioned that I think is a huge thing with women today, we get so wrapped up in the busyness of life that we often equate our value or our worth to how busy we are.
Right.
I have friends that I'll call. It doesn't matter when I call them, and I'm, hey, how are you? Oh my God, I am so busy. Right? Yes. It doesn't matter when.
Sounds like me.
Yeah, but it's like, I'm like, okay, and I used to be that way too. But then I was like, what good is this? I don't want to be so busy all the time. I want to stop and smell the roses and enjoy life. But women, I think we've been trained, especially strong women. Kelly and I are. All of our tribes are very strong, independent women in our network.
Yes, they are.
Very much so, and I think a lot of times that's what we have to be. We have to be busy. We have to always be working, because in our heads we think, oh gosh, what am I if I'm not this?
Right.
What am I if I'm not working 60, 70 hours a week? And I think that's something that shifts too when you hit 50 years old. You start to go, there's more to it than just being busy and just working all of the time. And what we are the,
I hear you.
Right? And we get to write our own book. And this chapter is so important. And the busyness does not equate to your value or your worth.
No. Honestly, it's exhausting.
Isn't it?
Yes.
It's exhausting.
I'm that person, but I'm looking at my life right now, and honestly, I'm ready to make some major changes and do the things I love and travel the world when I'm younger, not when I'm having all kinds of aches and pains and can barely get around. I want to do those things, and I want to do them now. I want to be free of anxiety.
Yes, and in charge of your life. And, I started coaching probably 15, 16 years ago, and got certified through a coaching institution. And I remember at that point, coaching was still kind of a new word. Oh, you're a coach. Well, what do you coach? Like football, basketball? No, I'm a life coach. And that was so granola. People did not really understand what that was. But I think now we're much more receptive to that idea of having balance in our life. And yes, we have to work, and we want to find something that makes us passionate. But we also have to take a step back and go, what's important to me?
Yes.
What do I want? It can't all be tied up with work. That's why when we were talking about those 5 areas of life, taking a look at each one of those and coming up with a goal for each one. What do you want your health and fitness to look like? What do you want your relationships to look like? Physical environment, that's pretty much what you surround yourself with, your home, your car, your clothing. So really taking the time to analyze what each one of those areas of your life should look like. And a biggie too for women, and I think once we hit 50 again, we learn this word. And this is the power of the word no. Right?
Right.
I mean, little kids do it by the time they're 2 years old. Do you want to eat spinach? No.
Right.
Do you want to take a nap? No. But all of a sudden, we as women forget that word for the next 40-something years.
Right. Always doing everything for everyone all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're saying yes to things that we don't want to say yes to. So, getting more confident and going, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go there, or I don't want to take that project on, or I don't want to go out to the movies tonight, or I don't want to volunteer for the PTA, whatever it is. There's such a power in learning to say no to the things that you don't want to do.
Right.
And women have a real hard time with that.
Yes, they do.
Yes. So that's a biggie, learning to say no and just kind of, doing an inventory. And this is perfect timing. We're getting towards the end of the year, taking a look at what do we want 2022 to look like. And I'm not a big proponent of New Year's resolutions because I think that they don't work.
Yeah, you kind of feel like a failure most of the time.
Yeah, how's that working?
Set myself up for failure.
How's that working for you? It's not anymore. Well, it's only February 3rd. I know. So, instead of doing that, but setting goals, what goals?
I like that better.
Right, and
Yeah.
then there's less pressure.
Right.
And like you and I were talking about earlier too, is getting a group together and creating vision boards. There is
Yes.
so much power in visualizing what that success or what that relationship or what your health and fitness looks like. I've been doing vision boards, goodness, for 20 years, and just kind of it helps me to kind of focus on what's important to me and know what's important to me for the year and not get sidetracked on a lot of that stuff. And it's just a really good reinforcement, So different things like that we can do to kind of to get our year together for 2022 and to make it the best year that it can be in all aspects of our life.
Yeah. I like doing that at the beginning of the year and kind of get yourself set up for things to think about I'm very goal oriented.
Yes.
So if I can lay them out in front of me, I'm like, okay, now I have to do this.
Yeah. Now this is real, and now
It's real.
and it's and you know what I like about coaching is what we do is we talk about, okay, Kelly, well, where are you right now? Let's talk about where you are right this minute in your life. Where do you want to be? Right. So we know where we are. We know where we want to be. Now the next step is what steps do we need to take to get there?
Right.
So that's creating that action plan. And I do this in coaching all the time, whether it's salespeople or life coaching or whatever it is. It's really, I know where I want to be, but I don't really know how to get there. So that's where you come up with the goals, the steps to be able to get there, whether you want to lose weight or save money or pay off debt or find a new relationship for that matter. It really is the same game plan. Mm-hmm. Got to know where you are, got to figure out where you want to be, but most importantly, you've got to know what steps you need to take. And that's where a coach can help you because, how many times have we all tried to lose weight, right? Mm-hmm. And trying to do it on our own, and then, okay, I'm not going to get on the scale this week. I'll come back in a couple weeks later. And then next thing you know, your size 14s are blowing up, right? Yes. So that's why programs like a Weight Watchers or any of those is Noom, they're successful.
I love Noom, by the way.
I love Noom too. Oh my God, the Noomologists.
I just started using it.
It's great. I've done it for a while. But why these types of programs work is because there's an accountability factor.
Yes.
I know, if I don't check my little Noom message in the morning, I've got a Noomologist
going, hello. What about me?
Right.
Time to log.
Exactly.
Hello.
You're in the danger zone. Yes. You haven't logged in 2 days. So that's that accountability piece. And that's where coaching, that's why I'm a huge proponent of coaching, because I think you need that accountability partner. You need that cheerleader. You need somebody who's going to motivate you, who can share in your successes, who can just kind of keep you going, focused on that goal.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
In all aspects, right?
It's easy to derail off of it.
Totally.
So someone to help you pull you back.
Exactly.
Follow these, and also not to move too quickly too.
Good point.
Because a lot of people want to, get there quickly, but when they do that, that's when they're going to fail. But by taking the different steps to get there,
right,
you'll have more success.
Right. Rome wasn't built in a day. Right. So, and patience, in our world now with technology, I mean, if we have to wait more than 2.2 seconds for anything, yes, we're rolling our eyes. What's wrong with this computer? Oh my God, I clicked a minute ago. So we have no patience. So we want things very quickly. And that's why having those goals and having that weekly check-in, mm-hmm, and okay, where did you accomplish what you wanted to accomplish this week? Now, what does next week look like? One step at a time, yep, instead of... You don't lose 50 pounds overnight. So what you do is you go, what, if I have a 1 pound a week goal, bite-sized nuggets. And that way we don't overwhelm ourselves, yes, either. And we're able to celebrate the victories along, mm-hmm, the way, because that's really important as well.
Absolutely is.
Yes. And in sales training, which I've done for years and years and years, working with new home sales specialists and real estate agents, and it's not that different, business coaching versus personal and life coaching. It really does get down to your goals, right, and being real clear on your goals, and then determining those steps to get there. And then back to the Live with Leah and forming a network for women. I just feel like I am passionate about this because I think it's an exciting time for all of us.
It is an exciting time.
Yeah,
for all of us.
and we can do so much. And I know some people. I have one girlfriend. She's like, "Oh, well, I'm old." I'm like, "Who? Speak for yourself, Right. We're not old. This is an exciting time. Look at it that way. And I think just by having that network where people can share and discuss these items, like you said earlier, people don't go around talking about death all the time, or death of parents, or whatever that is. But the things that we're experiencing that are kind of unique to our age frame, and having that network to be able to bounce ideas off of and share things with, I think that's a support group. It's a network, but it's also a support group.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's cool. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it as well, because it's definitely something that I know myself and several of my friends could use something like that, because we're all going through different things.
Mm-hmm. And nobody's is the same,
nope,
right?
None of it's the same.
It's different for everybody, but by knowing that you've got people that you can count on and depend, mm-hmm, on or bounce ideas off of. I don't know. I just think that we're just such a unique group, women over 50, and the things that we've gone through. And truly, it's our time. And that's what I want to empower women to understand, that it's our time. And we get to make the decisions, and we get to write this chapter, and we get to determine what we want each of these areas of our life to look like.
Oh yeah, it's actually it's you feel more free.
Yeah.
Like, I'm free now. I can do the things I've always wanted to do
without worrying about failing, or worrying about what other people think. There's, mm-hmm, just like this huge weight lifted off the shoulders, right? Mm-hmm. And it's and for some women it can be scary. Like, let's say you are going through a divorce where and I've seen this happen often, the husband kind of took care of everything, and then they get divorced, and all of a sudden you're like, I've been programmed to do it this way for so long, I have no idea. So sometimes that freedom that you and I celebrate can be very scary, for somebody who's never had it. So it's like, learning new things, whether it is with relationships or the children leaving. If you've been a homemaker or a mom and you're getting rid of kids after 30 years of having children, finding your identity. For so long, I'm a mom, or I'm a wife, or I work at this place. Who am I when the kids leave, right? What do I do? And I want women at that age to just get real excited.
Identity other than mom.
Yes, right? Other than mom or Jim's wife or whatever it is. But I want women to get excited and empowered about it, going, yeah, this is my time. And I could write my own script. I can, go back to school. I can be whatever it is that I want to be. I can find my passion. And, I tell people also, it doesn't have to, don't quit your day job if it's something that you love. But what about volunteering, giving back to the community or things like that you're passionate about? I'm passionate about animals. So I know for me, volunteering at the Humane Society or doing things in my community that helps animals. That's very fulfilling to me.
It is to be
Yeah.
able to go out and help other people and spend the time and
Right. And giving back. You forget the value of being able to help other people and help them grow, or animals, or whatever it is that you're passionate about. But I think if I could stress one thing, it's so important to find out what you're passionate about and really kind of incorporate that into your life somehow. Nothing's sadder to me than people who haven't found their passion, who are just, oh yeah, I'm working the same job.
I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that.
Right. Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda, and they're 80 years old and wishing all these things.
Yes.
It's
yes.
sad when that happens.
Well, it is. I know my sister, she kind of went through a change about a year and a half ago. She had worked at the same job for 35 years, liked it, wasn't overly thrilled about it, but it was okay. Mm-hmm. And then she kind of became a caretaker when my parents were both sick. So it was kind of a turning point for her. And she made the decision, you know what? I'm going to quit the job. It was the scariest thing in the world for her to do at that point. But now, 2 years later, she is so happy. She's doing other things. She's discovered her passion. And she's like, it's hard for me sometimes to even remember working there, because life has changed so much. So don't let that fear of the unknown stop you, because that's the other thing, too. So a lot of people live their life in fear. I could never leave the job. I could never leave the husband. I could never sell the house.
Yeah.
I could never leave this town. All those things.
A lot of people are making big moves right now, too.
Isn't that the truth?
Greatest resignation of all time.
And do you think that the pandemic, as scary,
changed everything.
It really did. It put your perspective differently. We realized there are certain things we could do without. And, companies realized that you could work from home, or some people realized, hey, I could do without having that job, or I don't like that type of structure. So, I guess the silver lining is that, we kind of got to prioritize and take a look internally at our lives, what's working, what's not working, and realize I'm not a tree. I can move, I can make a change. I'm not a tree. I love that quote, oh, I could never leave. Oh, I could never. Yes, you can. You're not a tree.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's when I came up with the, second soul and two funky hippies during that time, because my agency, we didn't really have a lot of clients then because everybody stopped doing work. So I'm like, okay, well, now what?
Exactly.
So I could, it was scary, but at the same time, it's like, well, this could happen. So you need to go out and find other passions and
yes, but it was scary. But you're resourceful. You're creative. Mm-hmm. You've had experience. You probably, if this had happened to you when you were 29 or 30 years old in the pandemic, do you think you would have been able to evolve with these new things that you took on? I mean,
no,
right.
I wouldn't have, but it was time, and now it's just so fulfilling.
Right.
Right. It's my happy space.
It is. And I know before I started speaking a lot, I used to, believe it or not, have such stage fright, almost to the point of I'm going to throw up. You know what I mean?
I still get that.
Well, I would get so nervous, and I remember I had a 30-minute speech, and literally I gave it in 3 minutes. Thank you. And so I had to really overcome that. And I had a mentor that said, Leah, feel the fear and do it anyway. Feel the fear and do it anyway, because there are going to be scary things that happen in our life all the time. We cannot avoid that. But when we feel the fear and still move through the fear and come out knowing we're going to be successful on the other side, it was scary for you to start 2 new businesses. But I bet part of you also said, you know what? Not my first rodeo. I'm not scared. I'm going to do this. What's the worst that can happen? What's the worst?
Right.
Right?
Nothing.
So
it could fail, but that's okay. I'll go out and try something else.
We're braver than we think.
Being fearless is really key to success, I feel.
Yes.
I think so many people don't follow their passion because they're fearful.
Right. And allowing yourself to feel the fear and do it anyway, and to be brave and to just realize, okay, if it doesn't work, I'll do something else. and I see it all too often. People stay in jobs or stay in relationships or even stay in cities or whatever because they're petrified. They're paralyzed to make any type of a change. And it's so liberating.
It is.
When you make that change. And you know what? Sometimes you may make a decision and think a year later, that's not right. I'm going to go back and do whatever it is. And that's fine too.
Yeah.
But you can't live your life in fear. You've got to get excited about it.
You do. It's funny you mentioned the thing about speaking, which I do get fearful of that sometimes.
Yes.
I don't do it enough probably because of my fear. But I did know when I started speaking, I was the same way, so afraid. But each time I would go and do it, and that's what someone said is like, you just got to keep doing it, and you'll find that you're going to get a little bit better and more comfortable each time.
Yes.
And I did.
Yes.
I did.
It's like riding a bike.
Yeah.
And the other thing, too, is, and I worked with a speaking coach when I was it was like, okay, this is my job, and I cannot be throwing up every single time I'm going to go speak. Otherwise, I need a new job. And in working with a speaking coach, so many different things, she was like, they don't know what you're going to say. So to quit memorizing the cards and, go out there and speak, be authentic and share your message. And this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about Brené Brown and the gifts of imperfection. Knowing what your gifts are, right? What gifts and talents do you have? And also, it's a shame if you don't share them with other people. I know I love motivating women. I love getting excited with women and cheering them on. And so if I didn't do that, I'm doing women a disservice and myself a disservice. Right. So when you think about it that way and you go, I have a message to share. You speak a lot about social media, technologies, marketing, advertising,
Trends.
Take you out of the equation and look at the message that very, very important message. We get so wrapped up in ourselves, we get in our own way.
Yeah,
right?
we do.
And no one's sitting there going, oh gosh, look at Kelly's outfit. Can you believe she's speaking? They're going, oh my gosh, listen to this great information that she's sharing with us. And when you kind of shift that mindset a little bit, it's a whole different ball game because you're giving them the gift of you and what you have to share.
And it's fun when you deliver something and you have all these people that are excited and like, wow, I didn't know that. And,
right. You have the gift to change lives and change how businesses operate. And I know you work a lot with entrepreneurs and small businesses. So that group alone, they're thirsty for knowledge that way.
They absolutely are. And I plan on working with a lot more small business here.
Yes.
Next year.
Yeah, and so many people, you were talking earlier about the pandemic and a lot of people leaving jobs. I think there's been a huge uptick in small businesses opening and that entrepreneurial piece. People are finding it within themselves, and it's just really, again, determining what your gifts are.
Yeah.
And what do you have to share with people, and being brave and being fearless and just doing it, right?
Absolutely. That's right.
Very important. What makes you come alive?
Yep.
What is it that makes you just feel alive and on top of the world?
Yep. What makes you smile?
Yes.
When you get that look in your face, that passion, it's people feel it.
They do.
And when they see that you have that passion, those are the people that want to hang out with you. They want to do business with you. Mm-hmm. You don't even have to sell because people see it and they feel it.
Yeah, it's an energy. Mm-hmm. It's an energy that we have.
Is.
I mean, and you can, and if you even take it on the bigger piece, you can see that. And again, back to our group of women over 50, you can see the women that are excited about it and, looking at it as a new chapter in their lives. And then the women who are maybe a little fearful about it. And I think our society, youth, there's so much emphasis on youth. I read a great quote by Jamie Lee Curtis, right? Jamie Lee Curtis, who I think is phenomenal. I mean,
I love Jamie Lee Curtis.
Isn't she cute as a bug?
She is so sharp.
And she's done nothing.
Classy woman.
No Botox, no filler, she's like...
Gone completely gray.
Right, and her hair is adorable. But she's like, why do we want to distort our faces? Why are we, trying to hold on to time? You can be beautiful, vibrant, sexy, gorgeous at 30, 40, 50, 60 and beyond, right?
That's right.
So I think we need to embrace that. And I don't want to be 20 anymore. I don't want to be 25 anymore.
No, I wouldn't want to go back to that.
No. And, think of everything that we've learned. And, gosh, I was talking to a girlfriend the other day. We were talking about running for office because she's got some political things that she wants to do. And she's like, oh my God, Leah, you should run for an office in Dade City. I'm like, good Lord, no. Do a little history back there.
Definition of torture.
Right. But even just they'll dig up everything on your past. I mean, we all made mistakes back then, right? So it's but we've learned from them. And that's why I think what we come to the table.
There's no social media back then.
I know, right? Oh my God, Faith, can you imagine?
Yeah, not good.
No. But we take all those things that we did back then, and that's what creates experiences and memories and helps us to make better decisions moving forward and helps us to be mentors and coaches to those who are, younger than us or wanting to get into marketing and advertising.
Yeah.
I know you're a huge mentor to a lot of younger ladies that are getting into the industry, and how fortunate are they to have someone who, like you, who has been a strong, successful businesswoman
I love that.
I know, right? That's that piece of giving back. But no way, I don't want to go back to being 25 and worrying about what everybody thought. And good Lord, at 25, I thought I was fat. I was anorexic at 24. All that pressure that we put on ourselves. It's so nice to not have that pressure and to be comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah.
And that's a biggie. I see a lot of younger ladies out there just trying so hard to, just or just be this person that they're not. And
it's not a happy place to be.
No. When you can just, accept yourself the way you are, your authentic self, understand your gifts, and not try to be like anybody else. I mean, that's a big piece. Is we don't want to. We need to celebrate our uniqueness.
Yes, we do.
Celebrate what makes us, because at the end of the day, that's what people are going to remember. How you made them feel. What your energy that you shared with them. That's so much more important than a lot of the things that we thought were important 30 plus years ago.
Absolutely.
We're in a different mindset now.
We are definitely in a different mindset.
Yes.
Well, this is so exciting what you're about ready to do. And there's so many women that are going to love to be part of this. I know it.
Yes, and you've been a big help with me in getting this launched, and I, like I said, I want it to be a network, a community, and you're the one who turned me on to the word tribe. I want to create this tribe of women where this is a place where we can go and talk about these things that are going on, talk about dating after 50, talk about menopause, talk about aging parents, children, becoming empty nesters. So many topics that are unique and specific to us, and in a safe environment where we're really sharing and learning and helping each other grow and helping each other set goals. That's the thing too. A lot of women, where do you want to be in 5 years? I don't know. All right, well, let's talk about it. What do you want out of your life? You're in charge here. Let's help paint that landscape of what you want your life to look like. So I'm super excited about it, and I'm looking forward to working with you on launching this.
Yes,
and
I'm excited too.
Yeah, and I just think it's a missing piece that has been wanted by a lot of women for a long time. And, we are women here as Roar, 50 plus, let's go get them, baby, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
We're ready.
I'm excited. And thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
You're welcome.
It's so fun.
Yay.
I love Second Soul.
Thank you.
Yes.
So everybody stay tuned. Next year, 2022, Live with Leah will be coming soon.
Woo-hoo.
So, yay.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining me today. And thank you for listening to our show, Learning Curves. Have a good day, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Second Soul Studios is a full-service production studio with capabilities for photo, video, podcasting, editing, co-working, and more. Our photo video studio has a number of different backdrop choices and props to choose from. We also have a gourmet kitchen set, or if you're an upstart podcaster, you'll love our 4-person podcast studio. So what are you waiting for? Visit secondsoulstudios.com to book a tour today.